Welcome to Red Clay This Month, the show that brings light to important educational issues that affect the students at the Red Clay Consolidated School District in Wilmington, Delaware. I'm Dr. Judith Conway, and I'll be your host for this show. Well, when I went to school, mathematics class was not my favorite. I'm sorry to say. I was really good at math, but it never seemed connected to real life to me. On today's show, we're going to discuss the Red Clay Consolidated School District's new math program that is relevant and very much connected to the way students learn in today's world. Please join me in welcoming our very first guest, Ms. Jody Albers, who is the Supervisor of Mathematics here in Red Clay. Welcome, Jody.
Hey, Judith. Good to see you again.
Oh, thank you so much for coming and talking to us about this.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that today's students will not have to have my math experience.
Oh, we certainly wouldn't want that. We definitely want our students to feel like math is their favorite subject.
Exactly, exactly. And I think it could have been my favorite subject.
Oh, I am sure you definitely like the mathematics that we are doing today.
So tell us about the new materials. So what makes them more engaging? What makes them different from the stuff I had to go through?
Great question, Judith. There are the three main things that make these programs significantly different than the materials that we've used in the past, and it's their focus on both conceptual understanding, procedural skills and fluency, as well as application. So nowadays, we're looking at having conceptual understanding and understanding that how and the why our mathematics procedures are working. We're focusing heavily on ensuring that we have our procedures down and can use those procedures to apply to real-world instruction in mathematics.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I think I always got the concept part of it, and I got most of the procedures because I did well, but the part about applying it to real-world problems,
and we have to be able to use it.
Right. That was sadly missing.
Right.
So can you give me an example of a problem that a kid might have?
Well, when we're looking at putting down carpet, for example, we want to be able to make sure that our students can calculate and ensure that the carpet's going to fit in the space that they need and not be too big, because then they're going to waste a lot of money buying carpet that they didn't really need, or too small, because then they're not going to have enough carpet to carpet their room.
So instead of me back in school having to do, 20 problems where I calculated area with no idea of why I might ever use this, it brings in some real-world applications.
And our students are then going to be able to apply the procedures to something that they would do in real life and not just doing mathematics in the classroom.
Right. This is not just for the math class. This is for everywhere.
That's right.
Excellent. So these are all new materials, and we have a lot of kids, so I'm sure we spent some money on this. So how do you go? I mean, that's a big responsibility. Right. And so how do you go about choosing the right stuff? Like, you have a process or procedure?
Well, yeah, Judith, it actually took quite a few years for Red Clay to start the process. We actually started going back to look at the vision for mathematics and what we in Red Clay want to see our secondary mathematics classrooms looking like and sounding like, and what we want our students to leave with when they finish the Red Clay Secondary Mathematics program. So once we wrote that vision, we looked nationally to see which programs are nationally recognized for providing the support that we're looking for the vision that we wrote. We then had our teachers participate in implementing the program with our Red Clay students to see how does this nationally recognized program work with our Red Clay students.
Oh, so like certain teachers in each building were trying it out for a year?
Correct. Yep. Depending on the amount of time that we had. But then we narrowed that down, and we were able to go ahead and focus on one set of materials that worked the best for our students, but we weren't done there yet. We said, we're going to look and see how this works for our students again. So for a second time, we used it with Red Clay students to see how the program worked.
To be sure.
To be sure that what we were doing for our students was the best program that we could use. We then collected data and brought that to the community and to the board meetings and said, here's the data that we have, and unanimously got approval to purchase the materials. So it definitely was not just a one-night thing looking at materials and selecting.
I find that all through Red Clay that we are very cautious about making big purchases, that it's really the right thing and it's going to do what we want it to. Well, first of all, we know what we want it to do, which is, a lot of people don't even know that when they buy things. But we know what we want it to do, and the data supported that it did indeed help our kids get where we wanted them to be.
Exactly, Love. And in this day and age, Judith, when people are looking always to see when they're buying a new refrigerator, we're going to research and check and see what refrigerator is going to get me exactly what I'm looking for. We needed to make sure that we put just as much, if not more, effort into ensuring that the materials that we're purchasing for our students are the materials that are going to take our students into the 21st century.
And into the 21st century, I'm thinking that means that there's some paper pieces, some online pieces, some interactive pieces.
Exactly. So the new program that we have, Judith, is delivered online and also has an opportunity for students to use a textbook. The online portion of it allows students to differentiate what homework assignments they're getting. It allows students to manipulate the different graphs online. It allows them to use applets to see maybe something that they would have had to have completely written out. They're able to use an applet that's going to extrapolate to see what's going to happen if they go to the 100th term, for example.
Something that by hand, they would just be
correct. It would
impractical
lots of
to
paper.
do.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I think that really helps them think bigger thoughts too. Like, let's say they're doing something and they're extrapolating, and maybe it has to do with disease, the communicability of diseases, and how many people that could affect.
Exponential, yeah.
Exactly. So that doing it 100 times, which wouldn't be
You're
practical.
Get a much larger number than you can handle on by hand.
Right. And if that's just 100 days worth of some kind of infectious disease spread, then that makes a bigger emphasis.
Exactly.
Like, to be able to figure that out and say, oh no, we would have to stop that disease here.
Correct. And something that is not something that we can do by hand in the amount of time that we have.
Right. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing how carefully we evaluated and vetted these materials to make sure they were going to do what they're supposed to do, what we need them to do.
Thank you.
And to be able to share that with our audience, because we always like to be transparent about things, and we are really blessed here with being able to have a community that is very supportive, referendum-wise.
And supported this math curriculum.
Exactly. That supported this math curriculum, and they need to be reassured too that we're very careful with spending money, and that all of these children are going to have a whole lot better math experience than I ever had.
That is our hope, Judith. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Now, we're going to take a little break now, but please come on back and we'll explore today's topic in a little more detail.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Like here?
A teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey. Ready for the...
Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
mathematics coach here in the district, and her name is Michelle Northshield. Please join me in welcoming Michelle. Well, hey, Michelle, how are you?
Hi, Judith. How are you today?
I am great. I am great on this beautiful day. So, we're here to talk about math.
Yes.
One of your favorite subjects,
Absolutely.
I know. So, I was just talking to Jody, and we were talking about how this math curriculum is really different from curriculums that we've had in the past. So I know that's got to be kind of an adjustment, a change for teachers. So how did we help prepare them for this big rollout this year?
You're right. It is a big change. Our 2 new programs focus more on engaging students and providing them with opportunities to make sense of mathematics in the world around them. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot more on problem solving and, like I said, making sense. So our teachers...
And I like the way you put that, making sense of mathematics. Right. So it's not just,
No, it's not just getting the answer.
15 problems.
Right. It's being able to articulate, explain, discuss, draw patterns and conclusions from the mathematics that you're doing. Mm-hmm. And so we've involved with our PD sessions, we've offered professional learning sessions for our teachers to dig into the materials and to do those problem solving activities and to make sense of them. Just the other day in September, we had a professional learning opportunity where they were working on some readings that would be taken with a submarine. And so just making sense of that and understanding what's happening, or in a geometry class.
Interesting problem. See, that would have engaged me. Yes. Oh, never been on a submarine, but if I were, right, I would want to be able to make sense of this.
Right, and the digital readings that come out from that and how they're different from our traditional way of looking at graphs. Mm-hmm. So we've been offering the professional learning sessions for our teachers to make sense of the math before they are engaging with students.
And I bet you started that not just in September, but...
We also did that in June, yes.
Yeah.
So, and we have plans for ongoing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I bet people are excited about it.
Yes, we are. We are all very excited.
Mm-hmm. I know that since a lot of it is online and interactive, that the Chromebooks have really made it possible.
Yes.
As I knock over my things, have made it possible to take this leap to this
It has. Having the Chromebooks and the digital content has really been powerful because we're able to let students engage, manipulate, and move things around. So they can actually have those geometric sketches and then rotate them and move them in the Desmos platform that's inside our new programs. Mm-hmm. And so just also getting our teachers as well as our students used to having a digital content rather than the traditional textbook. We have both, but we're leaning more towards those 21st century skills.
Mm-hmm. Now, is this going to take a lot of support during the year as
it is.
People get into, because this is secondary mathematics, so it's not just adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing.
Right. So we have some coaches that we work with, some math coaches. We have myself and Jody that can get out to the buildings, and we're involved in book studies in terms of helping our secondary teachers. We're reading Joe Bowler's Mathematical Mindsets and how we change the way we think about teaching mathematics in the secondary world and how the research with brain function works. Mm-hmm, so I think that we have the opportunity to make some really transformative changes in our curriculum and in our teaching in Red Clay.
Right, because it's not your father's math class anymore.
It is not.
It's really different, and change is hard for people. We know that from everything we do that gets changed, how hard that is to deal with. So that's good that teachers have support all through. Now, I know Jody said that we had teachers who tested the materials. What were there? Can you give us some insight into their reactions?
We did. So in terms of the high school curriculum, we had 18 teachers that
18.
Used it for the entire year last year. So they are familiar with the digital platform, the concepts, the skills, the pedagogical practices that are needed in order to deliver this type of digital content as well. And we took regular polls throughout the year to find out, what was working, what wasn't working, what were the student responses, did you see any impact in your classroom? And a lot of the feedback that we got was that the students found the curriculum much more challenging and rewarding.
Oh, good.
They saw that there was suddenly a need to be able to do certain mathematics because they couldn't solve certain problems without having a set of skills to attach to those. So we created the need for learning the mathematics. They also said
and that's all based in these materials.
It is. It also has, they appreciate the online homework help. There's a homework button that you can click on that'll give you hints. And if you still get the question wrong, they'll pop up a video to like a little tutorial video that can help you move along. So they really like that.
That is, oh my goodness, I am blown away.
And then the feedback that the teachers get is that I could, if I was assigning 4 problems for homework, I can quickly go into the platform and see, did my students get them right or wrong? And if they didn't, which ones are they not understanding? So that the response the next day is very targeted. It's not just this open-ended, like, let's go over all the homework problems. There's no need for that anymore. So it's really changing the way we run our classrooms.
Oh, interesting. So, interesting. And it sounds like it's a good move, like a good move forward.
Yes, we're very excited.
I think I'm hearkening back to what you said about kids being able to manipulate things in a math classroom. Like, I've never thought of manipulating things in a math classroom.
It's no more the paper pencil world of my day.
Yeah, my day too. Gosh, when I was little, we didn't even have the little, the little unit things that you string together. Yes. We had to do it all on paper. Right. I'm like ancient that way, but
it's still the same skills presented in a new and exciting way. So I think that's what makes it better.
Makes it right. And it's going to increase achievement. It's going to increase students' ability to succeed in whatever career they choose. So yeah,
absolutely,
it's all good. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming and talking to us about that and your perspective and reassuring us that teachers are getting the right training so that they're going to be able to deliver this changed curriculum in a good way for kids.
Well, thank you for having us here.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Sure. Now we're going to take a break now, but be sure to come back because we have yet another guest today who's going to talk from a real hands-on perspective about the math curriculum.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
In Red Clay, there's more to being a school nurse than just giving out Band-Aids. Sure, we help prevent the spread of flu and other diseases, but did you also know that we work with physicians to coordinate care? We administer medication and manage chronic disease. We coordinate sports physicals and provide education to students, staff, and communities. We deal with stomach aches, sprains, and nosebleeds. We conduct screenings for hearing, vision, and so much more. Plus, we document it all. And sure, we give out the occasional Band-Aid or two as well. Red Clay Nurses, keeping your kids healthy is what we do best.
Welcome back. I'm glad you came back to see our last guest for today's show, and she is Alicia Alexi, and she is a secondary math teacher from Conrad Schools of Science, and she is actually using this new curriculum. So join me in welcoming Alicia.
Hi, Julia. Why, hey. It's
Great to see you. Thank you so much for coming today.
Not a problem.
Oh, good, good, good. So we're all waiting to hear what appeals to you about this new material, these new math materials.
Well, it's more standards-based focused, and like it's more 21st century technology. Like with the one-to-one initiative that we have, you know,
right? Every kid having a Chromebook, grades 3 to 12. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it fosters the 5 mathematical practices with the math discussions that we're really fostering now. I mean, everybody wants that in their math classes.
Math discussions. I mean, who would have thought?
I know. And it enriches that math language that we all want in that class. So, I mean, everybody's looking for that. And the students actually, it produces that more math discussion. The kids are able to foster that. And not only does it have that, you know, like every teacher wants that. So that language is like embellishing within those classes.
So it's that discussion about why they're doing something, how they figured it out, what it's going to mean, all of that good stuff?
Yes, absolutely. You know, and then this curriculum actually gives us family resources to, you know, spur that.
Right, because it's online and the kids take their Chromebooks home so mom and dad can look at it and look at the video help and
right, and also
it
makes that mathematical connection to, you know, spark those conversations outside the classroom. And that's what we want, not just within the classroom, but outside the classroom. So we want those conversations going on. So with those family resources that they provide for you, it's amazing.
Oh, your students. So I'm not sure as a student how much I would have wanted to have mathematical conversations at home. So how are your students reacting to the materials?
Actually, I was fortunate enough to pilot it back in the spring. So, and, you know, and we're continuing to go on now for a couple of months. So my students are engaged, you know, they've adapted very well. You know, they're going in, the curriculum is very, you know, it's rigorous. You know, we're going through the conceptual understanding, the procedural fluency, and we're all
just those words sound hard. Conceptual understandings, procedural fluency,
the application. You know, it's more group oriented. It's problem based. The
group work in math class.
I know. Who would have figured? Right?
I know. That's fabulous. But you're right. Where in the real world do you solve a big problem that deals with a lot of mathematics all by yourself?
Right. You don't anymore.
Right. You work in a group.
Yeah. And the kids, I mean, like, I love sitting back and like standing there and seeing all of my students actively engaged in the class. And not only, they're using the math language and they're building those discussions. I mean, and then not only that, you can hear them, they're using these arguments and they're critiquing each other, you know, using and they're defending that language. And you're just like, you know, and you're just like, that's what everybody wants in their class when you walk into a math classroom. We had that before, but not everybody was actively engaged. And the kids feel like they're part of the class. No matter what they do, as long, you know, they're defending that, they're using that language and they feel like they're there. So it's very engaging. You know, the kids they feel like they're part of the class now.
Right. As opposed to, and I'm just remembering my experiences, you know, the teacher up there, wah, 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 and I'm sitting there taking notes or trying these 2 problems or whatever. It was very much a there, here.
Right.
And as opposed to
it's
solving things together or defending an argument as to how to solve something or why to solve it that way.
And they're enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, that's really engaging in terms of
it's
thought processes.
It's real world applications now that they're taking from the classroom and taking it out into the real world. And like I said, they're enjoying it.
Enjoying math class, it's like a dream come true, really.
I know, right?
So all of this discussion and engagement, is it increasing achievement? Are they stronger math students? Are they more confident math students?
They are. Because they're all actively engaged, they are now understanding it a lot more, and their achievement is going up. Because we all have the one-to-one technology, you know, we have a lot of, and the curriculum is providing us with like digital enhancements. They're providing us with digital activities. There's alternatives. Instead of the old paper and pencil activities, they give us, you know, we used to have the manipulatives, but now they have this digital alternative. The kids can get on and they can actually do it right there digitally. And the kids are more engaged in doing that instead of picking up the paper and pencil, instead of picking up the old, like what you may remember as the tangrams or the pattern blocks. Now they can actually do it digitally, and the kids are like, because we all know now today, they all want to pick up their digital device, whatever it may be. In our class, it's the Chromebooks, you know, so they're all engaged in doing that. So you see that, and then they understand it a lot more because it's right there in front of them, and then they want more. And so I sit back and I'm like, I'm like, okay, we can get and we can provide more for them. So I'm excited. The kids are excited. We have people coming in and out of the classroom, and they're just like, wow, everybody is actually engaged. Everybody, you know, I look around and I ask to go over homework, and all hands are up. And, you know, so it's exciting. It's going to be a great year. The kids are excited, you know, so.
And just to be clear, so there is a textbook, and so an actual physical book in, you know, in the class. They don't have to lug the book home because they can download it on their Chromebook. Am I understanding that correctly?
They do have an actual textbook if they want, and they also have it on their Chromebook as well. There's two different choices. In the middle school, they actually have it via the computer, which is through their Clever account, and that is internet-based. And then in the high school, when we get into the Envisions course, so anybody that is on the Envisions platform, they can download that. That is not internet-based, so they have that right on there. They are not lugging books back and forth in that sense. My students with the middle school, they have the choice. Do you want to do it on the Chrome, or do you want to do it paper and pencil? And that is, again, you know, meeting the needs of all of our learners. Which way, what style do you want to learn? And that's what I love about all of these curriculums. We're meeting, you know, the needs of everybody, and it's very helpful for them.
Well, it sounds like it's a good program, and a lot of thought and preparation went into it, and it sounds like it's really making a difference in terms of kids' attitude towards mathematics, which is very exciting. Like, when has that ever happened, you know?
It is.
So fabulous, fabulous. Well, thank you so much, Alicia, for coming on and talking to us about the teacher point of view and how the students are reacting. And we're still pretty near the beginning of the school year, so I'm sure we're going to have lots more to learn in terms of the math content and the different units as the kids go into learning different aspects of math and all of that, and lots of fun things to come. So, great.